Hello everybody, John here from the esports department, ready to go over tonight's two-game LPL slate. Sorry to be a little bit late on the video today. It's been a wild day for me. Had to take my dog to the vet, had some other things to take care of, but we're ready to go for a slate that there's no way I'm getting right because of the teams that are on this slate. There's just no chance I'm winning money on this slate. We start off with WE minus 165. They're 6-4 on the season. Up against LGD plus 125. They're 6-6 on the season. So, I guess I'll do the stats first. 1804 to 1783, just a slight advantage for WE. The goal differential per minute also leans that way. First blood goes to LGD, but just by about 5%. First turret, almost 34% to WE's side. Dragons, 5% to WE as well. A super bloody matchup, WE in the 19s on both kill per win and death per loss. LGD, 18.6 and 20.7. So this matchup just has blood written all over it. Which, like I said, the way this slate is set up, there's just no way I'm winning on this slate. So probably this match will be like 7-4 in both games. Probably LGD wins them both. WE, a team that beat LNG at the height of their power, has beaten Suning this season, beat BLG, like some teams that kind of like middle of the table good teams, but has lost when they've faced the toughest competition. FPX, JDG, Rare Atom, lost to all those teams. I think WE is the favorite. I think minus 165 is a reasonable line. But WE is just a team that has been so back and forth for me this season in terms of individual game-to-game play. Some games they just feel insanely good, and Breathe is just the nuts. I mean, he's been fantastic almost every time he's played. But the rest of the team, some games just look absolutely fantastic. Other games just look like they just didn't show up today. It looks like maybe they tilt a little bit after losses. Sometimes after a loss, their next game, they look significantly worse than they did the game before. Just a really hard team to trust, this split so far. And for a team that I thought had a shot to win the LPL this split, it's been really disappointing to see. That said, I think I'm on the WE side of this game. I'm definitely going to be playing more WE lineups. LGD feels like maybe the spot that I won't go tonight, just because they're probably the popular underdog here at plus 125. I would guess if people are going to an underdog, probably LGD is their first thought. So I think I'll probably stick to WE and not mess too much with LGD. And then in the second game with BLG at plus 175, they're 6-5 on the season, playing up against JDG, minus 230, 7-4. Now JDG is just an exacerbated version of WE, in that they've looked like their stats are fantastic. 1863 GPM is awesome. Like, that's just a great number. And they've had some series. They beat Top Esports, I would say, fairly handily when they played them. But then they've had other series, like against LGD, against LNG, against Suning, where, like, teams that you would really expect them to beat, where they've really fallen down. They beat Top Esports, they beat WE, they beat Invictus. Like, they beat some teams. They beat Rare Atom. They've beaten some good teams. Rare Atom, WE, Top Esports. But then they just come back down to earth and just get smashed in other games. They're just an exacerbated version, like I said. I think if I'm going to play an underdog tonight in GPPs, I think I'd prefer to go with BLG. Feels like their ownership will be the lowest on the slate. And I think both JDG and WE are capable of having really terrible series. That said, this one looks a lot like the other one statistically. Just it edges to JDG, but not by crazy amounts. 1863 to 1816, plus 98 to plus 54. Advantage in first blood, but just a tiny one, and they actually give up first turret significantly more often than BLG. The dragon percentages are about the same, and we're looking at, once again, a super bloody matchup. JDG with 19.5 and 20.1. BLG with a 19.5 DPL, but a 17.7 kill per win. So this is a matchup where both matchups are extremely bloody. I don't have a super strong lean on which direction you should go. The projections seem like they like the JDG side, so I'll assume that that's probably a reasonable option. Both matchups super bloody. You could play any team on this slate, no doubt about it. I don't have any problem in a big field with going with like BLG, LGD. That wouldn't bother me if you wanted to go that way. Top captain in a big field feels good today. I think JDG and WE are great teams to play top captain. If you're playing LGD or BLG, I think I'd rather go with the carries or the junglers. But JDG and WE feels like a good top captain spot. So I think you could kind of go anywhere you wanted. I think the ownership will definitely be JDG, WE, LGD, BLG. When it comes to the cash lineup, let's see what we come up with here. This just feels like a slate where I just can't win. WE and LGD feel like or WE and JDG feel like the teams that let me down the most. Maybe because I have the most faith in them, but I feel like I get let down more by these two teams than like anybody else. You can play a 3-3 with Kanavi captain, or if you wanted, you could switch to Beishang captain, and then you could get 4 WE player or 4 JDG players. I kind of feel like maybe this is better for cash, getting the 4 JDG, even if you lose the captain slot. Man, they have a monstrous difference in projection, though, between Kanavi and Beishang. It might be better to just go with the 3-3. I just wish that I could change, like, missing to Lumao. We're $100 off of it, and I really wish we could. Is there a way, if I was willing to go down to, like, Shanks, then could I change to, like, Lumao and Zoom? Zoom's actually cheaper than Breathe, so you probably don't even need to do that. You could probably go back to Yagao and just play any old WE person in the last spot, actually. You could switch Loken to Elk. It's kind of interesting that this doesn't project better. I mean, I guess the top diff, it's only an 8-point top diff, though. But Elk's actually just pretty heavily out-projected by Loken. Lumao only slightly more than missing. Yagao over Shanks is a big upgrade, though. So the only person that you couldn't fit there would be Breathe. So I guess projections would say that you would want to go with this. I just hate not playing the support out of the biggest favorite, because supports in a losing matchup are just such a hindrance if they end up losing. I feel like maybe, especially with the Philios back on the menu recently, I might just go with this. 633.3. It's a pretty big difference in projection, though. Man, it just really wants... Why is it doing that? It just wants Breathe so badly for that 8-point jump. Yeah, I guess so. You're getting more points out of Lumao, though. I can't figure out why the projection is so much lower for this one. Yeah, that's just 8 points lower. Oh, it's because we had the Loken and Elk in there, which is a 10-point drop. But I still feel like maybe I'm at least going to consider this version, even if it projects a lot worse without Breathe and Loken. I do think Elk, we're starting to get back into the 80 carries that Elk plays best, which makes me feel good about going back to him. And then Zoom versus Breathe. I mean, I do think you'd much prefer to have Breathe this season, but I don't have any issue with going this way. So I think this looks like a pretty good slate. I'm excited about it. We'll see what we end up with. Probably going to go with this in cash, as much as it doesn't project that way. I usually stick to the projections, but this time I'm gonna lay it back and do this one, I think. Sorry for that background noise. I'm not sure what that is, but I have to check on it in a minute here. So appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, hit me up in Discord or on Twitter, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.